usual, some interesting news posted to the whip this week. On Monday night, it was announced that Ahmed Shafiq and Mohamed Morsi would progress to the runoff elections in Egypt next month. Ahmed Shafiq was the former prime minister under the regime of Mubarak, and Morsi, the candidate from the Freedom of Justice and Justice Party, the Muslim Brotherhood's political arm. Two of our correspondents were on the ground in Egypt interviewing women about what influenced their vote and whether or not women's rights plays a role in their decision. What surprised the whip is the secondary importance that women's issues played when deciding on who to vote for. And as one interviewee put it, that equality would be achieved for women by the social justice reforms that the candidates had already pledged. In the 5 years since the whip launched, we've been influenced by one of our advisory members, Dr. Rion Eisler. Despite the popular uprising in Egypt last year, Dr. Eisler's work makes it clear that if Egypt is going to achieve real and lasting progress, they need to change the culture. Her research shows us that empowering women economically, socially, and personally is not only important for women's rights, but for creating a more peaceful, prosperous, equitable, and sustainable way of life for all people. Therefore, the empowerment of women is not only a justice issue, but it's an economic global issue as well. Dr. Eisler's recent book, The Real Wealth of Nations, shows that to build economic systems that are going to meet the unprecedented social and environmental issues facing our world today, the issues that are traditionally considered women's issues are in fact precisely the issues of human capacity development that are at the foundation of economic success. The Center for Partnership Studies, Dr. Eisler's nonprofit organization, recently compared statistical measures from 89 nations, comparing the status of women with measures of quality of life, such as infant mortality, the environment, and human rights. And they found that in significant respects that the status of women is actually a better indicator for quality of life than even GDP. These comparisons, there's many reasons for this correlation, but perhaps the most important and the least obvious is that as women are devalued, so are the traits and activities that are stereotypically considered feminine. In most nations, politicians see nothing wrong with huge government deficits to fund prisons, weapons, and wars. But then they tell us that there's not enough money to feed needy children, or childcare programs, or health care, or early childhood education, even though these are precisely the issues that are essential for a healthy population and a competent workforce. Gender roles and relations impact environmental policy. Let us hope that the recent lack of concern our correspondents observed on the ground is not a predictor of a future Egypt that is not only detrimental to women, but detrimental to an entire nation's economic success.